Fat Ass 45's hospitalization for what appears to be the serious case of COVID-19 is a development that feels, at first glance, like it changes everything. The world's attention is now focused on the Fat Ass's health, and the possibility that Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation as the Supreme Court Justice will be delayed, uncertainty over what will happen if Fat Ass 45 gets worse, and as we have grown accustomed to with this administration, the struggle to get reliable information about the state of the Fat Ass's health. Ironically, Fat Ass 45's illness is unlikely to change the one thing that was at the forefront of most of our minds as of last Thursday, the election. While Americans are concerned about the Fat Ass's health, those sentiments of support may not translate into any movement in the polls. Fat Ass 45 has been in office for almost 4 years, and most Americans have decided what they think of him. This year, his approval ratings have been very consistent. They have fluctuated between 38 and 45%. Moreover, the race between between 38% and 45%. Moreover, the race between Fat Ass 45 and Democratic nominee Joe Biden has also been very stable, with Biden leading by about 5 points from the time he wrapped up the nomination through June. Since then, Biden's lead in the polls has mostly been between a narrow window of roughly 7 and 10%. Over the last several months, there has been no shortage of disturbing or potentially game-changing news. The rise in COVID deaths, at Fat Ass 45's promotion of questionable treatments like bleach and hydroxychloroquine to fight the virus, and the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, massive Black Lives Matter demonstrations, violence in several American cities, and the recent release of Fat Ass 45's tax returns have all dominated the headlines at one time or another. But collectively and individually, these events have mostly just pushed Americans further into their political corners while not changing the central dynamic of the campaign. For many Americans, Fat Ass 45 is a failed squatter with a terrible record on COVID-19 before he was sick. He will still be seen as a failed squatter with a terrible record on COVID who was suffering from that disease. His illness is unlikely to change many votes. Fat Ass 45's illness draws attention to his extraordinary mishandling of the crisis while seeming unlikely to lead to a change in his persona or policies. Moreover, the White House, by failing to communicate frankly to the American people, and by Fat Ass 45 senior campaign advisor Fat Fuck Miller, the Jason Fat Fuck Miller, referring to Biden's masks as a prop, have handled the crisis in a way that suggests that Fat Ass 45 and his inbred Wolfer collecting trailer park supporters are not going to change their approach. In the event that Fat Ass 45 gains full strength in the next few days, he will be back on the campaign trail unless he dramatically changes his style and approach, something that he has not done in more than the 40 years he's been a public figure. He will continue to divide, bluster, and attack, while failing to address the pandemic in a meaningful, sustainable way. The sympathy many Americans feel for Fat Ass 45 today will rapidly disappear if Fat Ass 45 recovers and reverts to being the fat ass that America has known for the last 4 years, most recently until the debate stage last week. A downturn in Fat Ass 45's health that either puts his life or his ability to serve a potential second term at risk would raise a battery of legal and political questions, but would likely still not change the basic tenure of the race. Unless Fat Ass 45 takes a major turn for the worse, voters will continue to see the choice as between Fat Ass 45 and Biden. The election has already begun, as over 2 million people have already cast their ballot, and that number will increase substantially in the coming days. Similarly, when many states have either mailed out the absentee ballots or they would do so in the coming days, those ballots, which number in the millions, have Fat Ass 45's names in them. A key reason Fat Ass 45's illness won't change the election much is that although he is the Fat Ass, Fat Ass 45 has become peripheral to many Americans. His failed squadancy has become a disturbing freak show because by abdicating to interpret it generously on addressing the pandemic, Fat Ass 45 made himself all but irrelevant to many Americans who no longer listen to his guidance on COVID and who have not gotten much credence to his case for a second term. Or they have not given much credence to his case, yeah. It's true, though, that Fat Ass 45's base, somewhere around 35% of the 40% of the electorate, remains very loyal. But many Americans know that Fat Ass 45's ideas about the pandemic should be ignored, and that his rosy views of the economy do not comport with their lived experience. So his desperate attempts to get attention are no longer working. For much of America, Fat Ass 45 is that ex who repeated calls we let go directly to voicemail. His current health problems are not likely to change that. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Rambin Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.